Hey there everyone, Ervin here, bringing you a breakdown on the recently buffed Arc-12 Blitzer Lightning Shotgun. This weapon joined the fight back with a cutting-edge warbond, in which most kinda just passed over it rather quickly due to its fire rate. Now it's back with a massive 50% increase to its original fire rate, ready to turn some heads. So, how good is it now really? Well, we're going to be talking about its technical specifications, target effectiveness, and damage breakpoints to find out. As with all of my breakdowns, all clips, opinions, and thoughts on the weapon are based entirely on Difficulty 9 Helldive, giving you the most accurate information possible on how these weapons hold up against the game's highest difficulty. The Arc-12 Blitzer is an example of our real-world electro lasers in concept. Electro lasers are directed energy weapons that use lasers to form an electrically conductive laser-induced plasma channel, or LIPC. A fraction of a second after this occurs, a powerful electric current is sent down this plasma channel, similar in fashion to a bolt of lightning, or more realistically, kinda like a taser without the cord. Although the Blitzer is one hell of a taser, this weapon sports flawless ergonomics to kick things off. What do I mean by that? Well, it automatically tracks to your targets within a 120-degree cone in front of the weapon. This cone is also pushed forward 1 meter while ADSing, giving you slightly more fine control over it, and an additional zero point 0.5 meters while in first person. Once the lightning is launched from the weapon, it attempts to seek out the closest head hitbox from where it originated. So basically, the Blitzer is the kind of aimbot you'd see quickly banned in any competitive shooter. This is a huge W for the weapon, as you are given very little reason to be precise with your aim, allowing you the freedom to continually carelessly sprint between your shots away from the enemy, only to hipfire them on cooldown. Unless trying to make the cone more precise towards an enemy in specific within a crowd, there is virtually no benefit to ADSing or going first person with the Blitzer. Use this to your advantage and stay mobile. Adding to this already absurd concept of free firing mobility, the Blitzer sports a heavy staggering effect. This locks up any enemy below tank class long enough that a shot will be once again available to fire before they ever get a chance to move or attack you, effectively crowd controlling any enemy permanently as long as they take sustained fire. Incredible stuff. And we will have absolutely no problem taking advantage of this infinite lockdown, as is accompanying that infinite crowd control component is, well, infinite ammo. The Blitzer can rattle off shots infinitely towards our enemies, with only its 45 RPM or 1.33 shots per second, keeping it in any form of check, as this fire rate is again fast enough to never allow our enemies to move. This would be lower DPS is thankfully of very little concern as a result, as they can't kill you if they can't move. Speaking of mobility, we also have some serious flexibility between those shots, as the pump action animation that plays with each shot does not need to be completed. You can freely perform any other action between shots. My personal favorites are tapping an enemy with my grenade pistol on a quick swap for tremendous amounts of burst damage, creating an area of denial with a flamethrower in which I'll constantly knock those enemies back with the Blitzer's stagger into said fire, or simply hitting taunts between them, as you have the perfect amount of time between those shots to throw out the well what is it provided by the Hugga mode after each shot. The sound profile of the Blitzer seems to be relatively quiet, similar to the Scorcher or the Plasma Punisher, only garnering any direct attention on average within 10 meters of where it's fired. But due to its damage being dealt by 5 separate projectiles, you will find enemies more often than not will still get the chance to spread that alerted status to others nearby before they die, making it unideal for stealth gameplay. Sorry, but no Ninja Palpatine builds. The damage per shot of the weapon is 250. This 250 is the total between all 5 lightning projectiles that are fired upon pulling the trigger, which each deal 50 damage to the target. This may seem relatively low for this kind of fire rate, but it's important to remember the headshot aimbot this thing comes with makes that 250 look incredible, even if 2 or 3 of them connect with the head hitbox. This lightning, however, does not chain to additional enemies past the first one it hits. Every bolt is capable of hitting an individual enemy based on where on the gun they originate from versus the closest target. But they will not chain. This can look confusing at times, however, as light enemies can be pierced by the lightning, giving the illusion the lightning has chained to a new target, when in reality, the arc simply pierced through the target onto the next. Speaking of penetration, let's talk about the armor penetration of the Arc-12 Blitzer. Despite its bare bones tooltips, it is medium penetration, or Class 3 straight up, able to damage any enemies with medium armor at half damage and light armor or less for full damage. The only primaries with a better list of targets that they're effective against are explosive weapons such as the Eruptor, the Crossbow, and the Scorcher, given their abilities to ignore things like Strider plates and permeate through armor like tanks and cannon turrets. Basically, our penetration value is exactly on par with something akin to the Jar 5, another fantastic primary, for example. Suffice to say, our utilities for this weapon are absolutely stacked as a result of all of this. This weapon has an aimbot with infinite ammo, staggers anything it touches, penetrates medium armor, and has a wide array of effect, great for crowd pleasing. So, what are the drawbacks? Well, the Arc-12 Blitzer has a maximum range of 30 meters, meaning the lightning fizzles from existence beyond this point. This means to get all of this value, you're going to be needing to get up close. This makes it significantly better with the Terminids than the bots as a result. This conal targeting system also does not distinguish between friend or foe, meaning if you are not careful, firing this weapon towards an ally anywhere near the cone within 30 meters can very easily lead to their untimely electroshock therapy. If you see your teammates start wearing lightning-resistant armor, it's probably not them, it's you. Practice up on your trigger discipline here, and everything will be a-okay. Corpses still register as targets for the Blitzer, causing your shots to fizzle when firing into a field of enemies you've recently taken out, causing you to indeed suffer from success. This hurts its usability on missions we are forced to stay in one place and hold out, such as the newer defense missions. Keep on the move so the corpses don't stack in your way to avoid this drawback. The weapon's aimbot nature can also work against it, especially versus automatons. The lightning will attempt to arc into the heads of the target, but automaton anatomy often has their head hitboxes sunk into their features, making it extremely difficult or impossible in some circumstances for the lightning to arc properly towards the target. Terminids, however, with their large low-to-the-ground head hitboxes, are wonderful targets for the Blitzer. And due to our low fire rate, even with the buffs, where with the Terminids we can simply stay mobile between shots with no repercussions, hordes of enemies we are not currently able to lock down due to our range, and inability to lock down large groups consecutively means automatons, we're getting shot. A lot between those shots we put out. Essentially, the Blitzer is a fantastic bug stomper for all of those reasons above, but you should be leaving this at home if you're planning to take a tour of the Western Front. For this reason, our damage breakpoints are going to be focused entirely on the Terminids, as I cannot, in any capacity, recommend utilizing this weapon for the automatons. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. With that being said though, let's get on to those breakpoints. Scavengers, hunters, and warriors are all removed in just one blast from the Blitzer very consistently. As it's not uncommon for our damage to spread across several targets, I'll be giving you these breakpoints based on the lowest possible number of shots, assuming all bolts hit the target's head, next to an average that you can expect to reflect actual gameplay. Hive guards are taken down in as little as 3 hits or as many as 5, depending on how the gun is feeling. While this is a bit of a slow kill, the list of primaries making quick work of these guys in particular is relatively short. So we'll call this one pretty alright, all things considered, as they'll never actually get the chance to touch you. Brood commanders are a very satisfying kill for the Blitzer. Should the full blast connect with the head, it will be decapitated. This leads shortly after to a bleed out, meaning it is effectively a one-shot. Assuming these will go down in your average engagement, however, in no more than 3 shots. Nursing and bile spewers are comfortable takedowns for the Blitzer. Nurses are lobotomized in just 2 blasts to their head, while bile spewers will typically take 3 or 4 blasts. It can potentially take several more if firing from behind though, however, so try to keep them towards you when doing this. As an added note, the heavy stagger here prevents them from spitting at you during the lockdown, rendering them helpless while you administer that treatment. Stalkers are absolute victims for the Blitzer, being dropped in just one blast should the Lightning all manage to find their relatively small head hitbox. More typically, though, it will take up to 4 shots to the body. Keep in mind, if a Stalker leaps away from you and cloaks, it begins to heal until it comes back around to you. This isn't the Blitzer griefing you or dealing no damage, this is just a Stalker mechanic. With the heavy stagger and fire rate buff, though, staying mobile while burning down a Stalker will see them unable to ever touch you. Big W here. Shriekers are a pain point. They hover outside our effective 30-meter range, meaning outside of the edge cases where we can push our targeting a little bit further forward by using first person, you'll only be able to hit these guys as they begin to swoop in on you. Best to just take their nests out at a distance with some long-range anti-tanks so you never have to deal with them to begin with, as the Blitzer can also deal no damage to those nests. Chargers are a straight-up no for the Blitzer. While you could shove this weapon up its rear and maybe eventually take them down that way, you'll in practice never want to do this. Best to use your support weapons or stratagems, as we are also unable to track to any exposed body parts easily here due to our aimbot head lock on. Bile Titans are also a no. Their stomachs can be blown out in 3 blasts, but will otherwise not be damageable by the Blitzer. You'll have to use other tools at your disposal, such as support weapons or stratagems in combination with it. Or, likely more preferably, not use it at all for this task. That does it for the terminated breakpoints and all the information regarding the weapon. So, how good is it? Well, in my opinion, the Arc-12 Blitzer now stands amongst the top ranks of bug-slaying primaries in Helldivers 2 as an extremely powerful option. It does everything you could ever want a terminated primary to do. We have high burst damage, auto-aim, limitless ammo, medium armor pen, and a heavy staggering effect. I don't think there's anything else I could possibly want my primary to be doing here. There are some drawbacks, of course, with only having an effective range of 30 meters. You have to be careful as not fire in the general direction of your teammates, and stacks of corpses can, of course, prevent your shots from hitting home. But within our ideal parameters, which we can create by staying mobile, this weapon will absolutely take control of the battlefield in the hands of any experienced Helldiver, chaining kill streaks that could make the average cluster bomb jealous. A weapon I will be dropping in with every single time besides defense missions where I just won't be able to land shots over the stacks of corpses I've created. Thanks for watching till the end, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
And now, another helpful tip from General Brash.
Erevan has brought us the information we needed to ride the Lightning all the way to Meridia with our Arc-12 Blitzer. For this, I'm ordering all active Helldivers to like, comment, and subscribe to his channel. Failure to do so will result in your new Termicide Experience farm being nerfed into the ground.
Brash tactics! Use them or die trying!